Hello everyone, this is the part 2 of our interesting story. She dumped Billionaire for DriverThen Motorcade attacked. If you haven't watched the part 1, you are missing a lot. Let's continue. The door crashed open with a loud bang on that scary midnight of March 21st, 2026 in Surulere, Lagos. The angry men with machetes and iron bars rushed inside like wild dogs. Adanna screamed in terror and hid behind Chinedu. Her heart beat so fast she thought it would burst. Chinedu pushed one man back with all his strength, his face full of brave anger. "Leave my house," he shouted. The men raised their weapons high. Adanna's legs shook like leaves in a storm. What terrible harm would they do to her and her love? Hello, welcome to Echoes of the Baobab Trees. Before we start, take a second to like this video and subscribe for more powerful stories like this. And in the comments, tell us where you're watching from. We love seeing how far our stories reach around the world. Suddenly, bright blue police lights flashed outside and loud sirens filled the night air. The thugs looked scared and ran away fast into the dark streets. The police had come just in time because Chinedu had secretly called them earlier. Adanna fell into Chinedu's arms, crying with big tears of relief. "We are alive," she whispered, her voice shaking. But deep fear still sat heavy in her chest. The next morning on March 22nd, 2026, the small house felt quiet again. Adanna and Chinedu cleaned the broken door together. They held hands and tried to smile. Neighbors brought food and said kind words. For a few hours, peace returned like a soft breeze. But Adanna started feeling very sick and dizzy every time she stood up. 1 week later, in early April 2026, Adanna went to a small clinic in Surulere. The kind doctor checked her and smiled. "Madam, you are pregnant," he said gently. Adanna's eyes grew wide with shock and joy at first. But then her face turned pale. She remembered the last time she had been close to Chief Obinna before she ran away. This baby was his, not Chinedu's. Her happy heart suddenly felt heavy like stones. Little did she know this news would bring more trouble. That same evening, Adanna told Chinedu the truth while they sat on the old wooden bed. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "The child belongs to Chief Obinna," she said with a broken voice. Chinedu's kind eyes filled with pain, and he looked away for a long minute. Anger and sadness mixed in his chest. But then he hugged her tight. "We will face this together, my love," he said firmly. Their bond grew stronger even in the storm. 2 weeks passed, and they decided to fight back the right way. In late April 2026, Chinedu took Adanna to a wise lawyer in Ikoyi. They gathered old servants from the big Ikoyi mansion who had seen Chief Obinna shout and treat Adanna badly many times. The servants wrote true stories and promised to speak in court. Adanna felt brave for the first time in months. On May 10th, 2026, the big day came. They entered the busy Lagos High Court in Ikoyi. Chief Obinna sat on the other side in his fine clothes, looking proud and sure he would win. The judge, a serious woman in black robe, listened carefully. Adanna's hands shook as she held Chinedu's. The lawyer started speaking about the marriage and the bad treatment. Chief Obinna's lawyer tried to twist the story and said Adanna was the wrong one. But then the old servants stood up one by one and told the true stories of shouting, loneliness, and pain. The whole courtroom became very quiet. Adanna cried softly, remembering every hurt. Chinedu sat tall beside her like a strong shield. The judge looked very angry at Chief Obinna after hearing the evidence. "This is clear maltreatment," she said in a loud voice. Chief Obinna's face turned red, and he started shouting in court. Everyone gasped in shock. But the biggest surprise was still coming. The lawyer mentioned the pregnancy and said the baby belonged to Chief Obinna. Gasps filled the room like thunder. The judge banged her table hard for silence. "This case is not simple anymore," she declared with strong eyes. Chief Obinna had lost the first big part of the battle because of all the proof against him. Adanna and Chinedu looked at each other with hope and fear mixed together. But what final shocking decision would the judge make next about the baby, the marriage, and their future love? The court battle was far from over. The Lagos High Court room felt hotter than the sun outside on that tense morning of June 5, 2026 in Ikeja. Everyone sat very still as the judge in her black robe returned from her private room. Adanna held Chinedu's hand so tight her fingers hurt. Her other hand rested gently on her growing belly. Chief Obinna sat across from them, his proud face now pale and sweaty. The judge cleared her throat loudly. "I have made my decision," she said firmly. What shocking words would come out of her mouth next? The judge looked straight at Chief Obinna first. From all the evidence presented, witness statements, messages, and even hospital records, the court finds that you maltreated your wife emotionally and verbally for a long time. This made the marriage unbearable. Chief Obinna's lawyer jumped up to argue, but the judge raised her hand for silence. Adanna's eyes filled with fresh tears, but these were tears of justice. Next, the judge turned to the pregnancy. Medical tests confirm the child was conceived during the marriage. The baby is legally Chief Obinna's. Gasps filled the room again. Chief Obinna smiled for the first time, thinking he had won something big. But Adanna felt her heart twist painfully. She looked at Chinedu with fear. Would the judge take her baby away? The judge continued in a strong voice. However, the court grants Adanna full custody of the unborn child because of the proven danger and unhappiness in the previous home. Chief Obinna will pay child support every month until the child is 21 years old. He may visit only under strict conditions and supervision. Chief Obinna's face turned dark with shock and anger. He slammed his fist on the table. "This is unfair," he shouted. Guards quickly moved closer to calm him. The judge was not finished. Furthermore, the marriage is dissolved today. Adanna Adewale is now free to remarry. Adanna let out a long breath she did not know she was holding. Chinedu squeezed her hand and smiled through his own tears. The whole courtroom felt lighter, like a heavy cloud had moved away. Outside the court building that afternoon, bright sunshine poured down. Reporters with cameras and microphones rushed toward them. Adanna and Chinedu walked out hand in hand, ignoring the questions. Chief Obinna stormed past them without a word, his expensive car speeding away. Adanna turned to Chinedu and whispered, "We did it. We are free." Her voice was full of joy and peace. 3 months later, in September 2026, Adanna gave birth to a beautiful baby boy in a good hospital in Surulere. They named him Chinedu, meaning, "just as God pleases." Chinedu held the tiny baby like he was his own treasure. Adanna watched them with happy tears. The child support money from Chief Obinna came every month without fail, but he never came to visit. By December 2026, Adanna and Chinedu had a small but happy wedding in their Surulere compound. Friends and neighbors danced under colorful lights. Adanna wore a simple white dress and smiled brighter than ever. Chinedu looked at her like she was the whole world. They danced slowly together while the baby slept peacefully nearby. Their love had won against money and power. Years passed quietly. Adanna opened a small school for village children in Surulere. Chinedu worked hard as a mechanic and later opened his own garage. They raised Chinedu with love, teaching him kindness and honesty. Chief Obinna stayed far away in his big Ikoyi mansion, alone with his money. Sometimes Adanna thought of him and felt only pity. One evening in 2030, Adanna sat on the porch with Chinedu, watching their son play. The stars shone bright above Lagos. She turned to her husband and said softly, "I chose love over luxury, and I would choose it again every single day." Chinedu kissed her forehead. Their simple life was richer than any billionaire's palace. And so the story ends, not with riches, but with true happiness that money could never buy. Now, my friend, here is the astonishing question for you to think about. Is it proper to leave a billionaire husband just because of comfort and true love with a humble driver? Could you do that if you were in Adanna's shoes? Walk away from billions for real happiness? What would you choose? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next powerful story.
See you in the next.